Welcome back, it's me Lou. I'm here for another action figure review. Alright, to start off, this is going to be strictly a mint on card review. We are not removing this figure from the box. It's an older action figure, it's probably close to 20 years old. I purchased this recently at one of my favorite collectible stores. Wax Packs, Records, and Toys, located in Roselle, Illinois. So if you happen to be in the Chicagoland area, I highly suggest you check that place out. Aaron, who runs the joint, is one of my best friends, and he has a wonderful selection of vintage toys and modern stuff. So hit it up one of these days. So let's get started. So what we have here is a Star Wars Unleashed Darth Vader. Now, I use the term action figure very loosely because this is more so like a figurine. It's not articulated. It's strictly more so like a display piece. And I can't get this glare off of his head. All right, there we go. Yeah, so this is much more of a display piece than anything else. So for those of you that remember these, way back in the day, this was like during the early 2000s when collectors were really concerned about the level of detail and realism in their toys. It wasn't so much about articulation with these guys because there isn't any. These were more about just having really fun and cool display pieces. You know, this was something you'd have on your desk at work or on your bookshelf. They were super detailed. Here's a picture on the back of what you'd get. You see, here's Vader. I believe it's recreating Vader from his battle with Luke on Bespin, because I think this might either the Luke on Bespin or his battle with Luke on the Death Star. Here's some stairs he's kind of like leaping off of. It's a very dynamic pose. You know, that's the heavy emphasis on pose. You know, it's a very static pose. You can't really move anything around. Some figures, you know, they afforded you the ability of like maybe moving an arm or a head, but for most of the time they were just kind of remained, you know, forever posed in this, you know, very dynamic action scene. Nice meaty bio on Vader right here, which is cool. And then here's kind of like, this kind of sums up the toy line in general. These powerful and meticulously designed artist-interpreted sculptures capture some of the most compelling Star Wars characters in their rawest and most electrifying moments. Their innermost emotions and essence are frozen in time with amazing artistry and detail. Collect them all for a stunning display of one of the greatest sagas of all time. So this is something that I don't think Hasbro would necessarily dabble in right now. They kind of did very, very briefly with some of the Black Series stuff. Like, if you remember, like when The Force Awakens came out, there was a pair of figures that came with display bases, and I think they were under the Black Series label. There was one of Rey, and then there was one of Kylo Ren, and they were essentially like small statues. You know, they kind of came with display bases also. But for the most part, you know, this was a completely dedicated toy line. You know, it saw multiple waves. And it lasted for a couple of years. Like, you know, I have one wave that I showcased recently that was dated 2002, I think. And this one was dated 2005. So the line did last for a couple of years. I think eventually interest has kind of waned. For one, the figures or the statues, they're very large. You know, so you definitely need space to display them. Very heavy too. Like, I'm surprised that this guy hasn't fallen off the bubble yet. Like, this thing is pretty heavy and hefty. You know, for a lot of toys this heavy, it's not surprising that, you know, eventually over time the glue would wear off and the bubble would just completely detach from the board. But I'm kind of lucky. This one's still holding in place very well. But as you can see, it's a nice, clean, detailed version of Vader. It's very exaggerated, very dynamic. So yeah, fun little piece of history here. I'm glad I have this. We have a small collection of the, not small actually. We actually have a decent sized collection of these mint on cards. So hopefully in the near future, I'll, you know, showcase more of these for you, because I do realize, you know, not everyone grew up during this time period, or not everyone actually remembers these things. So it's just kind of a nice trip down memory lane. Alright, so let's wrap this video up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber or viewer, thank you so much for continued likes, comments, and support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one.